Nice. Okay, rest your hands in your lap, please. And close your eyes and come into your internal alignment that I've been talking with you about as your plumb line. And when you start to align yourself in this plumb line, then check and see when you're just in a very relaxed way receiving the breath, observing the breath, what kind of information are you getting from within your body? Any places that feel vibrant or maybe dull, areas of the body that feel like expansive or grounded, some places that feel uneasy, they haven't yet awakened yet. And then start to bring in, as we've been talking about, the most subtle form of your Ujjayi breath. So there's a quality of elegance in the effort. And it will take a little longer for the inhale and the exhale. Because the most subtle form, you're drawing in more slowly, and the sound deep inside the inner ear is very quiet. And see if the inhale can include all three regions of the torso, lowest, middle, and upper. And that you gently tone the belly during your exhalation. And so here too, you're getting a sense of like, what is your capacity today? What is the inner feeling tone of your body? And this reflects how you slept and what you've eaten today, yesterday, the day before. Also reflects what sorts of thoughts and activities you've been involved in. So with all of that sort of information from within, we're going to use a little bit dynamic pranayama, and then we'll check back in and see how things are feeling. These are called cleansing pranayamas. So as you're sitting right now, make sure your pelvis feels stable and that the spine is upright. Rest your hands out over your knees so that your upper arms aren't really close to your rib cage. And then we'll begin with Kappalabhati, a strong exhale through the nose, and I'll set the pace for us. So please have a half an inhale. Exhale completely through the nose. Tone the low belly as you exhale. And then inhale, lower third, middle, and upper third to hold the breath at the top. Lift your chest and brighten your heart. Exhale slowly through both nostrils. Take your time and use the elegance of your exhale to concentrate your mind. And we have again, we'll just do a half an inhale. We'll do Kappalabhati, and then we'll exhale left nostril and right nostril. So you can have a sip of inhale. Exhale completely. slowly. To the end of the exhale, tone the belly. And then inhale, lower, middle, and upper third of the torso. Hold the breath at the top. Close the right nostril, exhale, left side. Inhale, lower, middle, upper third to hold at the top. Close the left nostril, exhale, right side. Rest your hand in your lap. Just notice the echo so far in your practice. Now we're going to pick up from Tuesday morning the Kappalabhati through the Nadi Shodhana. So these are rapid exhales, left, right, left, right, left, right. You bring your right hand up and rest in preparation at the bridge of the nose. Excuse me. And then we make these brisk exhalations through the nose. You can have a sip of an inhale to begin. Five, four, three, two, one. Release the exhale. Now inhale, and at the top of the breath again, hold. And this time making a very tiny opening through the lips like a cocktail straw. Exhale slowly and completely. And then release the belly. Receive the inhale without grasping for it. And now bring your hands together at your heart. You're just noticing whatever the kriyas, the cleansing practices, what is the influence for you? And then we'll chant together Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Saviryam Varavavai. Tejasvinavariktamastu. Ma Vidvishavai. Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Saviryam Varavavai. Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vivishavai. Now we put the first two lines and the last two lines together. The middle line is still by itself. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu saviryam karavavai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vivishavai. Om Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands and please open your eyes. Okay, so we're going to come up to standing and do one more pranayama sort of kriya. And you'll be using horse stance. So please rise up to standing. Let me get myself situated. I have to get the microphone out from under the Swiss ball, the physio ball. Okay. Okay, so when you step back and you're going to be in horse stance, I'd like you to turn your toes out and have the knees, so you already know where they're going to go down. You have a sense of that, right? And then the arms are going to be going up and down like this, right? So this is a strong breath cycle. When we go down, we go inhale, and then we're going to go up, and that's out through the mouth, like that. So let's do it together. 3 more. Now inhale, make the feet parallel, and exhale to come down, a little bit like a rag doll, but make the legs strong. Invite your torso to relax, so the torso is more like a cascade or a waterfall. Energize your legs so they're more firm, like the element of the earth. And let the breath come in really freely to the lowest third of the pelvis, and then into your mid-back and sideways, and if possible, up into your heart. And then use your tiny cocktail straw. Exhale. Let's do that twice. So exhale long and smooth and silently through the tiny straw of the pursed lips. And when you've completed that twice, then shift your hands to your hips. Bring your heart forward. Rise up to standing. And step your feet together to mountain pose. Okay, good job on that. Step forward on your mat so that you know you can step backwards, and that when you step back, you're going to have a place where you're not going to run into anything. You already know that about yourself. Okay, so you're going to have this and this. Right? Okay, you guys look ready. Very nice. So we're going to inhale forward, and then we'll exhale and pull back. Okay, so inhale like this, and then this is the exhale. Great. Okay, so inhale, step backwards with your left foot. Exhale. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Right. Left. left, right, twice more. And then pause in mountain pose. Let your arms dangle. Close your eyes. Place yourself in your plumb line. Imagine that which you're sort of sloughing off is more than physiological. It's also mental, emotional, psychological. And now bring your hands together for Surya Namaskar. Beautiful. Okay, so now we want the more subtle Ujjayi breath. So we're cultivating an internal kind of refuge. This plumb line is like your quiet refuge. And all around it might be the dust bunnies of the mind, but you're going to keep your attention in the central channel. So inhale, sweep your hands down, palms forward, rise up, lift your heart and your gaze. Exhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, rise up. At the top of the lift, make a little standing back bend. Exhale, bow forward like a swan dive. Keep your head in line with your neck and spine. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Rise up to your fingertips or put your hands on blocks if you like. Exhale, have a deep bow towards your legs. Okay, inhale to rise, arms wide. Lift your heart. At the top of the inhale, also lift your collarbones and your eyes. Exhale to your heart. We're going to repeat that and add to it. So inhale, palms forward, reach upwards, lift your heart and your gaze. Exhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, upward hands. Exhale, Uttanasana, using the Ujjayi breath. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, means glide your heart and your spine forward like a half lift. Exhale, deep bow, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, so the heart comes forward, lift the base of your skull. Exhale, left toes back. As you plant your left toes and your right heel, inhale, rise to your crescent lunge, which I know that you already know. Now this morning, when you exhale, press the arms wide, lift your heart, and clear the windshield of your mind. And then inhale, raise your arms, gaze forward. Exhale, press wide, open your chest and your heart and your throat. Inhale, rise. And once more, exhale, press wide and open the upper regions of your heart. Now, last time, inhale, raise both arms. And on the exhale, as you reach forward, scissor your right arm straight back, aim the left arm forward like an arrow. Then inhale, rise, right arm forward, come up. Beautiful. Okay, exhale, sweep your right arm back, aim your left arm forward like an arrow. Inhale to rise, root down into your right hip and heel. And last one, exhale, sweep your right arm back, reach your left arm forward, hover over your left thigh, and then reach for the floor gently and step backwards to downward facing dog pose. So downward facing dog is symmetrical. It's inward and downward. Its energy is inward and downward. So it's reflective. It's a place to come back home. Do you sense the breath in the central channel of the body? And what is the quality of your mind? Good, yeah, very good. And then with your inhale, roll forward to plank pose. And exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Come onto your stomach. Point your toes. Inhale, roll up to Bhujangasana. This morning, let's put the hands as fingertips. Yeah. And then exhale, roll the heart down. Keep your shoulders back. Good. Inhale, roll up. Kind of like one vertebrae at a time. And exhale, roll down. So the abdomen, solar plexus, heart, and then your forehead. Inhale to roll up. Lift the upper part of the heart. And exhale to roll down. And one more time, please. So last one, lift the upper part of the heart. And exhale to roll down. Place your palms flat now. Curl your toes under. And as you inhale, press up to plank. And then exhale, reach back to downward facing dog pose, which is again symmetrical and it's inward and downward, whereas your cobra pose was forward and upward. Right, so notice the difference when you come here. The quality of the pose invites a certain quality in the mind. Okay, and then keeping your hands and arms stable. When you are ready to, you're going to exhale and step your left foot forward between your hands. Great, and then inhale, rise to your crescent lunge. Good, yeah, very good. And then exhale, sweep the arms wide, lift the upper part of your heart and your collarbones. Inhale, rise up. So we keep the mid-torso stable, and when you exhale, press and open like a flower blooming. And inhale to rise. Gaze forward, yeah, beautiful, good job. And exhale once more, open the upper chest, heart, and collarbones. Now we inhale to go up, we're gonna prepare to be like an arrow. You exhale, bow forward, scissor your left arm back. Keep the left outer hip and heel steady. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, reach forward, left arm back. That's a cross crawl pattern, by the way. For those of you who were here yesterday, this is probably a little easier cross crawl for your balance. So when you exhale, last one, reach the left arm back. And then lightly touch the floor. And as you step forward, bring your right foot up to meet your left. And then a deep bow towards your legs. It's called Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep your arms wide. As you rise up, lift the upper third of the torso, your heart and your gaze. And then exhale and come back into your heart. And listen to the inner stillness that's possible inside that central channel. Listen within. Now just make sure that you have padding for your knees, if you like that for Anjaneyasana. I have 2 yoga mats that are overlapped in my crisscross, so I already have what I need. I might need a blanket. Good. Thanks for taking care of yourselves. Okay, so here's the inhale, hands down. Lift the first third of the breath, middle third, upper third. Look up, open your throat. Exhale, chair pose. Sit down, Utkatasana. Put your body weight into your heels. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Lift your heart at the very top there like a little standing back bend. And then exhale, a little bit like a swan dive. Go slowly, the wind underneath your wings. Inhale, glide your heart forward. And I would recommend now that you have 2 blocks and you're going to step backwards with your left toes. And then you can have your fingertips on your block so that there's an extra bit of length to your arms. So the inhale, we're going to have the left leg straight as it is now. On the exhale, lower your left knee, press into your fingertips, and raise your heart. And inhale, press into your fingertips, your right heel, straighten your left leg. A little bit like a water bird. When you exhale, touch the left knee down, press into your fingertips, raise your heart, roll your shoulders back. Inhale, gaze down, press into your arms, straighten your left leg. And exhale to lightly touch down. This time we're going to stay down, roll the shoulders back, and then inhale, sweep your arms wide, Anjaneyasana. So keeping your pose relatively stable, from yesterday's cross crawl, let's see if we can follow the right arm out to the side, even just part way. And then raise your right arm back up from the side and follow your thumb until your right hand rejoins your left hand. And try that one more time. So keeping everything else stable, just go as far as your balance and your eyes and your mind can collaborate. And then bring your hands down to your heart. Touch the two blocks and please step backwards. With your two blocks high, your downward dog pose will feel a little bit different. And now float your left foot forward between your hands. Bring your right knee down to your blanket or your double yoga mat, in my case. So you're going to press into your fingertips here. When the chest rolls open, that's your exhale. And then inhale, root down, straighten your right leg. And exhale to slowly bend. We're not touching the right knee down with complete firmness. Inhale to straighten, gaze down, energize your arms. Exhale, lightly bend your right knee, raise your heart, roll your shoulders back. Inhale, broaden the back of your body as you gaze down. And exhale, tone the deep low belly as your heart rises up. And let's pause here. Inhale, raise both arms. Beautiful. Good, good. And if possible, if you have your balance, gaze up and join your thumbs. And then follow your left thumb just as far as you can to your left. And follow your left thumb just as you're able to back up overhead. And do that twice. Keeping everything else stable. Your practice is a practice, by the way. It's not a performance, and it's not a test. So we bring the hands to the heart. Acknowledge your efforts and step backwards to downward facing dog pose. Go ahead and use the two blocks for this dog pose. So it's a slightly different dog pose with the hands higher. Your hips actually might go a little further back, and your heels may feel more grounded. And then inhale, roll forward to plank pose. Touch your knees lightly down. Reach for your rolled yoga blanket. Place your knees on the rolled yoga blanket and sit back to child's pose with the knees elevated and a block to support your head. So when the knees are elevated in child's pose, for some of you, the hips will come down to the heels more completely. For others, you'll find that you actually get to broaden or around the lumbar spine, where other times it's actually still straight, relatively straight for you in child's pose. We are supporting the head, but I am inviting your elbows to reach to the floor. Notice the breath inside your body. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and your blanket and rise up to kneeling. Okay, I'm going to turn to give you a sideways view now. So the rolled blanket we're going to be using, I have a fingerprint on my glasses, excuse me. We're going to use the rolled blanket for pigeon pose, and I am going to recommend 2 blocks to you as well. Since we are longtime practitioners, those of you who are here, and also that means that you've had some life. So you have hips and knees that need to be cared for. So what I'm going to do is put this rolled blanket, which I recommend that you roll your blanket firmly. If you aren't sure that you did that, go ahead and check it. And prepare that to be near to the right side of your yoga mat. And then the 2 blocks are going to be for your hands in plank pose. We're going to be stepping from plank into pigeon pose. So we go like this, you place both hands. Hold on, you guys know me, I have to straighten this yoga mat. What is happening? Okay, I don't want to have vertigo from looking down at crooked yoga mats. So when you're in plank pose and you bring one leg forward to pigeon, I want you to be really specific about how you do it. So lift into plank with your hands on your blocks. Bring your right knee up towards your right elbow. Cross your right foot to the left side of your mat and use the outer edge of your foot very firmly so that as you are lowering down, your blanket is there for your right knee and your right thigh and your right hip, but you can scooch it under like I was just doing. Then you have these 2 blocks to press down against and to lift the heart up. For those who love to go forward in pigeon pose, don't worry, we will. I won't leave you out. But for right now, I'd like you to press down into these 2 blocks and give your heart a chance to lift. It's like a little back bend. You can scooch the left knee and the left toes back so the tail of your pigeon is still long. And then take the block under your right hand and move it to the right side of your mat. Keep it close. The block under your left hand can become on the flat setting. It's going to be like a little desk for your left forearm. And place your right hand on the other block and twist your upper body to your right. So you've added a twist to your pigeon pose. You have the chance to pat your right knee and give it some appreciation. And as you're twisting here, if you'd like, you can now raise the block under your right hand to the tall setting. And then let's release the twist. Place the block for your right hand where it would be in plank pose. Place the block for your left hand the same where it would be in your plank pose. Press into both hands firmly. Lift your left knee. Press down and then float your right foot back. You have to kind of hurdle over your blanket. Notice what plank pose feels like. And then move your blanket to the other side. Okay, let's bring the left knee forward to your left elbow. Put the left foot across to your mat so you're on the firm outer edge of your foot here. And then you get to come down to your blanket, left knee, left thigh, left hip. And please stay up on your blocks for a few moments. The back toes, you could decide for yourself if you want them to be pointed or tucked under. For some of you, it'll be more comfortable to have them tucked under. I don't have very flexible toes, so I generally point mine like that. So press firmly down into both hands. I want you to stabilize across the lower belly, kind of like your lap belt right there in the car or the airplane. And then root your left outer hip down. So that I don't want you to have a sense that you're compressing your lower back right now. This should feel smooth and open. It isn't a back bend, but it shouldn't feel compressed. And let's take the block for the right forearm, place it on the flat setting like a little desk. The block for your left hand can go a little further left, and you're going to press down to twist to your left. And then you could choose to raise the block under your left hand to the high setting, the tall setting. And to twist through your upper back. Acknowledge your left hip, your left outer thigh, left shin. And then bring the block for your left hand back into what you would think of for your plank pose. Right hand for your plank pose. Now tuck the right toes under. You make both arms firm. Good, I can see you in my mirror there. Stretch your right leg straight and float your left foot back to plank pose. And then touch the knees down. Take your block and sit back to Zazen, like this. Yep, now I see you on my monitor over here. Good, and rest your hands in your lap, palms face down. And listen inside for what is moving and also that which is still. You might listen for what I call the effervescence, but also that which is just quietly shimmering with the quality of stillness. Yoga calls that the lucid, the experience of lucidity. And we use the word sattva to describe that state. Okay, now take the blanket that you were just using, and I'm going to show you from the front side now. We are going to sit a little bit sideways. This is we call this Bharadvajasana in Sanskrit. So if you're kneeling, you have your blanket at the ready. It's back next to your hip. Your shin will not be on the blanket. So let's shift your hips to the side, like that. Yep. I have my two blocks at the ready too. The blocks are going to be helpful here, so keep them. This one is obscuring your view. Okay, so you're sitting on your right hip and it's a little bit higher than your left hip. You have this situation, right? So one hip and the other, they might be near to level, but you have shifted sideways, so there can be a little bit of discrepancy. That's okay. I'd like you to lift up through the inner body, rotate, and place your right hand and then your left hand on these two blocks. What you might find is that you have the urge to put your left hand on the block by picking up your left hip. So I'm going to ask you to try to keep your hips stable and make the rotation through the lumbar spine, thoracic spine, the lower back, mid back, upper back. So my experience currently is that my right hand can be very firm on the block. It knows what to do. And my right arm is straight and strong. And the left arm is reaching towards, but is not yet able to place the left hand firmly on the block. Let the breath come into the back hemisphere of your body. Keep your right arm firm and your hips grounded. So even if the left hand doesn't firmly reach the block yet, you have room to grow. And then unwind your upper back. Slide your left hand off the block. Bring yourself up. And now step your left leg back into the Z formation. So you've just made your seat wider. Okay, and I do now have my right hip and part of my right thigh on my blanket. So there's my blanket. This is called Z formation because it looks like the letter Z to some people. I didn't name this one. Okay, lift up through the heart. Rotate towards right hand for the block. Bring the left hand around. You might now start feeling that your left hip has something to say about this. I'd like you to reach from your left hip and to go long into your left knee and your left thigh. And with your left hand, walk your left block a little bit forward. With the right hand, walk the right block a little bit forward. Left block a little bit forward. Right block a little bit forward. Left. Try to keep the hips stable. Reach back into your left thigh and your left knee. Right block a little forward. Maybe the left. And then keeping the left hand where it is, walk the right block deliberately back under your right shoulder and add a twist to your right. And allow your head to explore wherever it would feel most nourished or capable of supporting your neck. To feel like some release is possible. And then slide the left block back as you rise up to sitting. Now, you're sitting on a rolled blanket, and I believe you can do this. You're just going to turn and come into Bharadvajasana. So put the two blocks aside for now and sit up straight in Bharadvajasana. Let's find out, what does the body feel like after the asymmetrical twisting. You could hold your ankles with your hands if you like. And sit upright. What is happening inside? Okay, let's do the other side of the same sequence. So you can either turn yourself on your blanket or you can move your blanket, which is what I'm going to do because I want you to still be able to see me. So I take this to the other side of my mat. You start by kneeling so that when you're forward of the blanket, just your left hip comes down. And again, this is a little bit crooked, but that's intentional. You have your two blocks set up. Okay, lift up through the heart and rotate across. And when you're rotating, be willing to be surprised. I'm not actually surprised. I already know that this doesn't go as far to my left. Some of that is that when I was a child, I broke my left arm twice, being athletic but clumsy. I fell off the high bar as a gymnast. So my rotation in my thoracic spine is much more easy to my right than to my left, having been casted with my left arm twice. So when you're twisting, if this is asymmetrical for you, respect the differences. Breathe into the back hemisphere of your body to allow some awareness, some information, some appreciation. without a sense of straining or striving. You can encourage the twist. Your right hand may not be able to be firm on the block, but your left hand can stay grounded. And then let's exhale and glide back. Now take the right leg to Z formation, so it does go out to the side. The left foot can sneak a little bit forward, kind of like your pigeon pose. Not completely like pigeon pose, but close. Okay. Good, and then lift up through the spine. Rotate to your left. You're there in my mirror. And when you reach across, try to keep the right thigh getting long from your hip towards your knee. The left arm again can be steady and strong. Your right hand may reach the block more easily than the last twist. And we're going to just scooch the blocks a little bit forward. So right block forward, left block a little forward. Scooching the right block forward is the more difficult and kind of important one. Scooching the left block forward is for stability. Reach from your right hip into your right thigh and your right knee. Don't forget about the sort of back leg in the twist. Listen in for the quality of your breath. Maybe the attitude of the breath is revealed as well. In the process of listening, if it's appropriate to scoot your blocks a tiny bit more forward, you may do so. The purpose isn't how far can you reach with the blocks, but what can happen with the inner body, with your back waist, with your right hip, your thoracic rotation. Don't be deceived by some sort of perceived end range. And walk the block under your left hand back, so it's under your shoulder. And please twist to your left. And then with an exhale, glide the block under your right hand back, press into your left hand, roll up to sitting. Take your blocks with you if you like, and shift into Bharadvajasana. Some of you might put those blocks under your knees for Bharadvajasana. That would be a fine way to support your seat, something like that. You can hold your toes or your ankles, lift up through your spine. Okay, and from where you're sitting, now take your feet and legs wide. This is called Upadistha. And you can come forward with a series of blocks, maybe 2 or 3 or 10 blocks or 1 block, it's up to you. When you come forward, whatever amount forward is for you, you have to acknowledge these are your hips. You can get some replacements, but not cosmetically, just because you feel like it. So I'd like you to acknowledge your hip joints, and if they aren't the super bendy wendy type, then you say, okay, these are my hips, they're stable. And with an exhale, please rise up to sitting. And I'd like you to cross your legs, whatever seat is most comfortable for you. In this regard, we're going to go to the pranayama from yesterday, which is the beginning of practicing your exhale suspension. So I do want you to sit upright, and I'd like to know that your mind has settled. You have a kind of quality of quietude before we practice this. I will explain it, but right now we're going to sit quietly and let the integration of what we have done come into the mind, breath, brain, and body. And so now in a few moments we'll practice this. Let me explain first. When we are upright, or returning to upright, we're going to be inhaling. When you go forward, and you can decide if what you need is blocks for your hands and then a support for your head, or if you simply need support for your head, something like this, or something like this. When we go forward, we're going to be using the forward bend to support the exhale to close, close, close. The deep belly becomes more toned on the way down. When we're down there, we don't inhale. We're going to suspend the exhale. It's going to be held out. We are going to deeply relax the belly, and you might experience an internal sort of suction that happens. That's the beginning of the vacuum of the bandhas. To release that vacuum, you then kind of pretend you're going to exhale a little bit more, or sometimes people practice swallowing, and then you can start to inhale and come slowly up to sitting. Let's try the first one together. Okay, so while we're upright, please inhale and let the breath climb up through the central channel of the body to bring it up into your collarbones and your heart. Hold the breath for a few moments. And then reach your hands forward. As you exhale, slide down to your forearms if possible, and bow your head towards the support that you have. At the end of the exhale, you tone the belly very deeply and expel as much of the exhale as you can. And then without inhaling, deeply relax the low belly. Transition to your inhale and slowly rise up to sitting. Glide your hands back to your knees. And then exhale like a whole body sigh. Just let the exhale be really brief if that's what it is. And you rest back into the silence in your plumb line. Okay, let's repeat that. Inhale from the bottom up through the central channel, up towards your heart, and hold the breath at the top. And exhale and glide forward. So your hands can go forward, hands, wrists, forearms, elbows. Hold the breath out and deeply relax the belly. Transition to your inhalation. Glide yourself back up to sitting. Your hands can go out over your knees. When you simply release the exhale, a little bit like a sigh. And do this one more time. So breathing in from the bottom up to the top. And then exhale to glide forward. Hold the breath out. Inhale to rise, slowly back up to your seat. And invite the possibility of being deeply still, mentally and physically. And we're going to complete to transition towards Shavasana. We're going to do a bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana with 2 blocks, and then we'll do Matseyandrasana, fish pose. Let me put this where you're able to see me. Okay, so when you lie down, I'd like you to have your 2 blocks available to your feet. That's going to be for your bridge pose. Watch out for sweatshirt hoods and hair clips. Okay, so we're going to be going up to bridge pose. It's helpful if you start with your feet, a little bit closer to your hips, so that when you go up, the shins are going to be vertical, like that. So press down into your heels and glide the tailbone up. So right here, it should feel like you have this hollow, right? You're just getting started, and the tailbone goes up. Please don't turn your head. I'm putting mine back to center. And as you keep going up, there's a place where you might feel like, oh, now's a good time to tuck the shoulders under. Either you can do that one shoulder at a time, or you can clasp the hands, whichever choice you'd like to make. Then press down into the heels of your feet. Lengthen your tailbone. Support your heart with your shoulder blades. And strongly press your shoulders back down towards the floor. And then when you're ready to, you're going to release the arms from underneath your pose and try rolling the spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae. And really pay attention right here as your lumbar spine is coming down. And then tip the block on the right, tip the block on the left, place your feet flat on the floor. So Setu Bandhasana closes the Jalandhara Bandha for a few moments. It closes this vayu called Udana Vayu. And then when we release Setu Bandhasana, that channel is open again. This time we're going to go up to bridge with the feet flat on the floor. And that'll be our entryway into Matseyandrasana. So press down into your heels. Reach back if you like and interlace your fingers. If that's not in your practice this morning, that is fine. You can tuck each shoulder under as well as possible. Energize the heart. And if your hands are clasped, when you start lowering the hips down, now we don't go one vertebrae at a time. We're going to lower the hips down like a back bend. And you can momentarily sit on your forearms. Then you want to turn the palms to go flat to the floor. Hopefully you're still sitting on your forearms. Take the left leg out straight, right leg out straight. Because you're sitting on the backs of your hands, you then lift the heart, press into your elbows, and gaze backwards. This is called Matseyandrasana. And then we're going to slide the back of the head on the floor to roll down, and you loosen your hands and shoulders. The hands come up underneath the back of the hips. And when you come into Shavasana, there ought to be a sense of the arms getting warmed from the heart and the release of the thoracic outlet. You'll have this sensation running down through the arms. The lymph system is also having a response. So allow for those things to occur. And then let yourself become very still. This is where your practice gets integrated. So let yourself become really deeply still. And close your eyes. And draw the sense of sight inward towards the back of your head. Allow the ears to go inward towards the inner ear, left and right. As well as you can, release your lower jaw from your upper jaw. And allow the back of your head to get a little heavier against the floor, and more deeply relaxed. Release all shoulder blades towards the ground. In the center of the throat, let your energy move back towards the back side of the throat chakra. The back of the throat is wide and relaxed. And same for the heart, that your heart rests in the back hemisphere of your body, like the back of the chakra. Down to the third chakra, allowing that to also rest. Your floating ribs, melt down towards your diaphragm. And press into the back of the belly. So the second chakra would be heavy, resting towards the sacrum. And allow your hips and your pelvis and legs, heels, ankles to be at rest. Just keep observing the process your body so well knows how to do. Allow your body to become more restful, even more deeply still. And also for your thinking mind to become more deeply still. Now, without disturbing your body or your mind, and just enjoy a slightly deeper breath in. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you return, excuse me, to sitting, please come up for meditation. Meditation is considered even more powerful than asana and pranayama. A very important part of your practice. When you rise up into your meditative seat, stay present, stay present. You are eliciting a brain state that can go with you in the course of the day. Please bring your hands together at your heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you. I will come up for a little visit so I can see how you are, and if you have questions.